Hello, Transurfers and the Transurfing Curious. My name is Renee Garcia, and today on TransurfingTV, we are going to talk about one of the classics, one of the core concepts, as I like to say, heart and mind coordination, because I know lots and lots and lots of people benefit from the transurfing knowledge and all the other concepts, right? Pendulums and defeating pendulums and, lowering importance levels and, keeping yourself out of an induced transition, maybe even hitting the wave of success. There's all sorts of benefits that transurfing can offer you pretty easily, right? And you can tap into these concepts and sort of reap the rewards, if you will. But a lot of people, from my perspective, I get lots and lots of messages from people asking me questions about, why don't I get this? And why isn't this falling into place? And heart and mind coordination seems to be at the top of the list. I get lots of questions of, I'm, for the most part happy, but I can't seem to find that thing that makes my life feel as though it is a feast, as Vadim Zeland puts it. So I'm going to get into this and really break it down for those of you that are struggling to connect with what is intended specifically for you. That's really what this is about, is connecting with what is specifically intended for you as an individual, what makes your heart sing, what your skill set is in line with, and it's like that thing that's for you, right? Before I get started, remember to like this video and comment below. My world is taking care of me. To enter my daily giveaway for my reprogramming stickers and Reality 2.0 on Teachable. Check it out, y'all. Link below. Subscribe and follow us on Facebook. We have a thriving community that would love to hear your thoughts and answer your questions. So heart and mind coordination, it's kind of elusive, right? I mean, it's this thing that either you've got it or you don't. And I think the people that don't have it sort of feel as though maybe they're missing out on something. And the thing is you are kind of missing out. I mean, heart and mind coordination definitely makes life a lot, I don't want to say easier, because, I'm living with an extreme amount of heart and mind coordination every day. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to do all this, right? And I've been doing this consistently for the last 5 years, literally every single day. And like the other morning, I, flew out of bed and my partner was like, God, every single day, you were on the same routine with your social media and your filming and your course and your private clients and, and you never seem to lack energy for it. And it's true. I do not lack energy for it at all. In fact, I feel as though at the end of my day, I have to tell myself to stop because I know I need a good night's rest so I can perform well the next morning. And I have to actually quiet down what my soul wants to do naturally. And that's to keep going, keep pumping energy into it because I have a lot of energy to give into this thing. Now, I didn't find what gave me heart and mind coordination until I was like 35 or 36 years old, right? I mean, it's not as though this has been my state of being for my whole life. It absolutely hasn't been. And in my past, pre-reality transurfing, pre-connecting with what gave me ultimately the heart-mind coordination that I had always longed for, right? Because I really do believe that when you have this feeling as though something's missing, well, everything seems kind of in line, right? I've got maybe my finances taken care of and I've got a cool relationship and, I've got my house and I've got this and I've got that, but something seems to be missing. In my opinion, when someone suggests that something seems to be missing, or in times when I felt as though something seemed to be missing, it was really just a lack of this energetic fuel to fuel reality, right? This heart and mind coordination. So I've got some good news and I've got some bad news. First, and I'm going to read a little bit from this magical little book here in a moment, something that Vadim Zeland says about it. But here's the good news. There is something specifically intended for you that you are good at, that you are capable of doing, that you can find immense success doing, that will help you to achieve some of those higher lifelines. As Vadim Zeland says in the book, when we are tuned into our soul frail, and I also see this as heart and mind coordination, a sector of reality specifically intended for you materializes, right? So when you have these things, a version, you are going to resonate at a frequency that is going to connect you with a sector, a life track in the alternative space that is specifically intended for you. And it is my wholehearted belief that every single human being on this planet has access to a reality, a sector of reality specifically intended for them, that they are going to feel full, fulfilled, happy, coordinated, energy, that nothing is missing, all those things in life that we want to have as a human. This is available for everyone. And the key to this sector of reality is heart and mind coordination and tuning to your soul frail. So that's the good news. You have that thing waiting for you, and you can absolutely connect with it. Here's the bad news. Why have you, and I'll get to some of my questions in a moment, but I'm going to go over them briefly before I get to what Vadim Zeland has to say. But the main question right now is, first of all, why do you feel you have not connected yet, right? What narrow little corner of the alternative space have you confined yourself to that you have not been regularly and habitually exposing yourself to new information that you could that could possibly provide you with the answer of what this is for you specifically, right? So for me personally, it took extreme measures. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh my God, I can't do that. But for me, I had to completely uproot myself and remove myself from a toxic environment, a narrowed little sector of reality where I was not gaining new information, inspiration, ideas, connecting with different things that were outside of my comfort zone. I was living that well-worn groove, and I was not going to just step out of it. I had to actually just erase the groove altogether. And this was extreme. Again, I left Los Angeles. I left my career. I left my partner at the time. I left, everything about my life. I got in the car and I literally drove away from it. And I went to the country. I went out into nature, and I took a year to really think about what it was that I wanted, and to open myself up to ideas, and to open myself up to new possibilities. And like a miracle, I found Reality Transurfing in this time, and I realized that feeling that I felt when I read the book and what it did for me, and I felt heart and mind coordination, then my mind started to, as I say, let your heart provide it will ignite, right? Your heart's going to be the ignition, and then your brain gets involved in the logic. So my brain then kicked into gear and was like, wait a second, you're going to bring this to the English speaking world. You're gonna bring this knowledge, and this is exactly what Vadim's talking about when he says this, right? That a sector of reality specifically intended for you is accessed by your soul, frail, or heart-mind coordination. So I accessed that, but it took extreme measures. And one of the things that I really, really, really had to do, and there was absolutely no way around it, was I had to manage the pendulums in my reality and sever the ties with a ton of pendulums, because it wasn't going to happen. It wasn't going to happen in the presence of those pendulums and that version of me in those pendulums grip, right? I was gripped by a lot of pendulums. It just wasn't going to happen. So now I'm not suggesting that you uproot yourself. All I'm saying is the information might be on another life track. It's not on your current life track. That's why I'm a huge fan of the anomalous action. You got to get energy and information circulating, because you've probably accessed everything there is to access on your current lifeline. And if you're not in a position where you can remove yourself and go on a year sabbatical to try to find yourself and discover life, then you're going to have to get creative of how you're going to access new information on your current life track. So what Vadim Zeland has to say: success is waking up in the morning, whoever you are, wherever you are, however old or young, and bounding out of bed because there's something out there you love to do, that you believe in, that you're good at, something that's bigger than you are, and you can hardly wait to get at it again today. So this is where I found myself, right? For the first time in my life, this is where I found myself, bounding out of bed day after day after day after day after day, with an abundance of energy and an abundance of ideas and skills, sharpening skills and using what I've got to do what I feel that heart and mind coordination to do. Now, here's the other cool thing about it. With that heart and mind coordination, with that sense that nothing's missing, right? That everything's right. And I have tapped into an optimal variation of reality for me. A lot of the other things in my life have sort of faded away, right? My importance levels about other things like getting rich or needing to take extravagant vacations or caring what family members think about me or making sure my social circle looks a certain way. All that kind of stuff just faded into the background because it was those things that I was trying to have a relationship with, to feel full inside. And that's why, enough was never enough, if that makes sense. Like, I could never get enough of that stuff. And it's why I ultimately, again, felt as though something was wrong and I life was kind of empty. It was this thing that was needed. So my questions here, what is it? I think I went into that. It is your brain saying yes. It's saying you've got the skills to do this. Let's do this. And it's your heart. First it's your heart. Your brain doesn't ever say it first. First, you're going to get a feeling like, boom, this is it. This is awesome. I love this. I could see myself doing this for a long time. And then your brain goes, wait a second. It's actually a really good idea. Let's see how we can work this to where it can actually become a reality and sustain us, right? And that's what it's about. It's about sustaining you in your life to an extent where you live what is providing you the heart and mind coordination. This becomes your life. This becomes your life. So why don't I have it? Again, why don't I have it probably has a lot to do with the pendulums that you're attached to. Really, it could be relationships. It could be your living situation. It can be your ideas about, your professional life as it stands. Well, if I quit my job, how am I going to make money? How am I going to survive? And those are all very, very good questions. You definitely don't want to just quit your job to try to find heart and mind coordination, but there is a version of reality where you do exactly what it is you love to do, and that sustains you financially and gives you a ton of heart and mind coordination, and you don't feel like anything's wrong. That version of reality does in fact exist, but you are the only one that can figure out the path to that sector of reality, right? What can I do to get it? So again, anomalous action, getting energy circulating in your environment. Start trying new things, connecting with new things. If you are at a complete loss of what feels good to you, start doing stuff that you've never done before. Go volunteer at the SPCA. Go volunteer at the homeless shelter. Go take an art class. Go start involving yourself in things that are completely new to you to see if your heart has something to say, right? I know that the age range for the people watching this channel are probably, we're all like, I think it's 35 to 45 is the majority of the age that watches this channel. So I'm sure you've already accessed something that's made you feel heart and mind coordination, but what pendulums have been involved in convincing you that it wasn't something realistic, right? That's what it boils down to. Or your inner intention thinking mind. So what do I have to give up? So this is, oh my God. If somebody told me you're going to leave Los Angeles, okay, you're going to give up a very steady, high income, really high income, and a very, very high lifestyle, and you are going to move back to your hometown, and you are going to get into the world of self-development, and you are going to try to lead people to knowledge written by some Russian mysticists, that like, I would never in a million years, being my prior self, I never would have taken that deal. And if somebody would have told me, listen, I promise you, this is going to make you the happiest you've ever been in your life. You're going to be fulfilled. You're going to feel purpose for the first time. You are going to have an abundance of energy, and all of the other stuff that you feel is important right now is going to fade into the background. I would have said, you are fucking nuts. That there is no way that is going to happen. That is not me. This is me. And I like my life, right? But now, obviously, looking back retrospectively, I was going to have to give up a tremendous amount to make this shift over to this more optimal sector of reality. Now, these tools, Reality Transurfing, will help you do all of this stuff if you have not yet read the book in its entirety. But if you are really in a place where you are feeling as though something is missing, I suggest that you read the book fully and you really start putting yourself into some new and different environments, challenging yourself and getting energy circulating in your environment so you can try to connect with that thing that is specifically intended for you. Before I wrap this video up, I'm going to leave you with one short little thing that Vadim Zeland says in here that I absolutely love. Strive to impress yourself. You are the only one out there, right? You are the only one out there. You guys actually don't exist to me right now, right? I'm just talking into a phone. There's nobody watching me. And yeah, I mean, as this video moves forward through space and time, it's going to connect with YouTube and there's going to be actual viewers behind it. But right now, in this room, with this knowledge, doing what I do, talking to my phone, really the only one that exists is me. And my pleasure right now, my heart and mind coordination, my purpose is to develop myself, have fun, enjoy my life, and impress myself, reaching new heights of success, right? And this is how I'm doing it. So this is my advice to you. If you are challenged with this, I hope that you can, take whatever you can from this video today, maybe mix it up in your reality a little bit, trying to connect with something new and better for yourself. And if you do happen to gain a sense of that heart and mind coordination in a way that you've never felt, hold on to it. Don't let pendulums convince you that it's not realistic, because I will tell you right now, with me making a living doing this, it is realistic. It is realistic. You can do it, and don't let anyone else or any pendulum convince you otherwise. Thank you so much for watching my video, and have a good one, everybody. Bye.